Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle, and today I'm going to be doing a day in the life of homeschooling for my 5th grade daughter, my 10, almost 11-year-old. And I'm doing this because I've gotten a lot of questions lately just about how her homeschooling, what it looks like, how I troubleshoot different areas. So I thought it'd be best to just show you guys how it works. Now, I did talk to my daughter about this because if you're new to my channel, I don't actually show my kids' faces or share their first names, and that's just to protect their own privacy. So I did approach her and say, hey, some people want to know kind of what your day looks like. Is it okay if I film that? I always ask my kids permission before I film anything about them. If you've seen past videos, my 7-year-old daughter prefers I not film anything to do with reading because she doesn't want that seen. And I completely respect that. So she said, yeah, that's fine. Great, let's do it. Let's show them what I do. So I'm going to take you through today and just show you what she does. Now, we start homeschooling at 9 a.m. So what does she do before 9 a.m.? So she gets up around 7 a.m. All my kids get up between 6:30 and 7 a.m. every day. I know, it sucks, but that's the stage of life we're in right now. But it is really nice because it gives us a good start to the day. So we don't start till 9. So what are they doing from 7 to 9? Well, they have breakfast, they brush their teeth, and they take care of their chores. I do have a video link up above, kind of how I handle my 5th graders' chores and allowance and things like that. But again, she's reaching the age where she's really independent. I also made a video, link that as well, about consistency in homeschooling and how that has really helped us. That I think it has fostered a lot of her independence because she knows what to do. She knows what's expected of her. So she just has a really nice natural flow and rhythm to her day. So she has had breakfast. She's taken care of her clothes and she's brushed her hair and teeth. Her chore for this week, they have 2 main chores and then additional chores if they want to earn money, was to unload the dishwasher. So she unloaded the dishwasher this morning, which was really great because right after breakfast I can load all the dishes in there. So when the homeschooling day is over, I don't have a sink full of dishes and obligations I have to do. So that's really helpful. She's done her chores, and for about the last hour, so from 8 to 9, she's just been playing. She's been playing with her sister. She was playing for her brother a little bit. At around 8:30 is when I start, 8:30 or 8:40, I start with my preschooler, my 3, almost 4-year-old. So I just finished him up. As you can see, it is almost 9 now. So I just finished his school, and I find it easier to do him right away, early in the morning, because it's really hard to balance a 7-year-old and a 3, almost 4-year-old because they distract each other a lot. So I find doing him first in the morning, getting his homeschooling done. And again, it only takes 20 minutes, 25 minutes at the most. So it's really quick. So we are getting ready at 9 o'clock. I will tell them it's time for school. They will get out their stuff and I will show you what she does. So it is 9 a.m. and she's starting to get her stuff out. So I was going to show you my calendars or schedules real quick. So this is a wall in our living room, and I have both my kids' schedules on here. So this is my 5th grader, this is my 7-year-old, and then my preschooler used the calendar. So you can see today is January 23rd. So I'm filming this on a Tuesday. You guys will see it next week. So this is what she has to do today. So she has math, dimensions, vocabulary, word ladders. So she's doing word ladders this week. She switches off. One week she'll do word ladders. One week she'll do Sadler vocabulary. You can see she does have occasional extras here, but she doesn't have anything extra here. She has Lightning Literature because she finished IDW, so she's doing the writing component of Lightning Literature now. We have history as a group subject, and we were having a Lego club on Tuesday. We are on break from that right now. So that's one of the reasons she doesn't have a lot of extra work in this section, because we had to be at Lego by 1 o'clock. So it was a shorter day, but I think in maybe next month, depending on what the Lego schedule is, we'll try to bring in art, but we shall see. So Tuesday, that's what she has to do. So she is currently working on handwriting. She's finishing up this Learning Without Tears. This is the 5th grade, and that's just to practice handwriting. And then this is her pile of things. So this is her language arts. So she has her Lightning Literature, and then she has her dimensions that we are working through. And then this is where I keep the word ladders. So she will do word ladders, she'll do writing, and she will most likely do language arts independently while I work with my 7-year-old. So to give you a look at what her language arts, and this is mostly independent, she will occasionally ask me for help with the grammar, but you can see here she has to read a chapter that's already marked, and she has a comprehension question, and then she's going over homophones. She'll read this, and then she just has a small practice section that she will do, and I will check this when she is done. She leaves a nice stack of work for me to correct when she is done, but you can see this is the next day. So that's kind of what I like about Lightning Literature. It's quick, easy, ties what you're learning or what you're reading in the book into what you're learning here. And language arts she excels in, so this is really nice for her to take it on independently. And like I said in her scheduling, she finished IEW, so she's doing the writing composition, and the writing composition assignment was to do a compare and contrast paper, so 2 paragraphs, and she had 2 weeks to finish that, so she's already finished it. You can see here she's written her compare and contrast. I went through and did corrections to it. She was looking at comparing Tamagotchis to her Alexa Echo. So I have her use the checklist from IEW to make sure she's including these things in here, and that's just practice. We use the Lightning Literature composition as practice for what she learned in IEW. So she'll get out her binder and use that as her scaffolding for it, but again, she can write a page, 2 paragraphs pretty easily. So she doesn't have any writing work this week because she finished it early, which is I'm completely fine with. So she's working on her handwriting. I'm gonna go work with my 7-year-old now. So she decided to do Lightning Literature first, and she chooses the order of what subject she wants to do when. Again, that's her independence, so she likes to do the grammar work first, then read, then answer the questions. But again, that fostering that independence that she can do this and trusting for her to get her work done. All right, it's 9:22. I'm going to show you what she's finished so far. She's finished word ladders, she's finished handwriting, and again, this isn't a pile for me to correct. She has finished her reading and her grammar. Again, I will have to go through and correct that. She is currently taking a brain break. I don't know if you can hear it, but she's upstairs in her room. She's listening to I Am Ken from the Barbie movie. She really enjoys that movie and the music, so she'll be upstairs for a little bit enjoying her music, and then she will come down and we will be doing, I think the only thing she has left is math, and I'll show you kind of how we navigate dimensions math with her. It's 9:27, so we're gonna start dimensions math. So can you hand me the workbook? So we have the textbook and the workbook, and how I organize this, because I do get questions about this. We go through the textbook together. So I'm going to show you an example of yesterday. And I do have it labeled here, the day, so she knows where we're at. So she'll do the textbook and then the workbook. We do the textbook together. We go through the problems, and the challenging word problems, I have to say, yesterday were actually really challenging. I had to get the teacher guide out for that one. We go through it, and if she's getting the concept, like this one you can see we didn't do, then I will stop and just have her move on to the workbook. So you can see here, she was getting the concept, so I only had her do 3. You can see these are multi-step, really long problems. I only had her do 3 of the potential 5 problems, and I break it down like that so it's not overwhelming. I think Dimensions gives you a lot of opportunity to practice, and I don't think it's possible to do a textbook and workbook without spending a lot of time. So if they're getting the concept, you don't need to do all the problems. If she goes through the workbook and I find that the answers are wrong or she's struggling with it, then yes, we will do more problems. But I think that's you as the educator deciding kind of how to do that and where to go and feeling it out to see where they're at. I don't think drilling kids on problems is the answer. I think if they're getting it, let them move on. But if they're struggling, there's plenty of opportunity for practice. So as you can see here, she is doing a practice. So this is going over everything we've been working on in this chapter. So this is her work, or this is her textbook. For the practice review things, I go through, and as you can see, I label, pick 4 of these problems and do them. Pick 1 out of these 2 problems and do it. Pick 2 of these problems and do it, as you can see, because she still has the workbook. So she's doing this all independently because it is a review. Now, if I see that she's getting a bunch of these wrong, then we will go through the other problems together. But if she's getting them right, there's no point in having her do all these problems, and then going over to the workbook and doing all these problems and all these problems. That's going to burn them out, at least in my opinion. So she's going to go through and do these independently, only because it's a practice or a review. Normally we do the textbook together, but she's going to do this, and I like having her have the option of picking, because again, it gives her ownership over what she's doing. She feels like she has a say in it, which she does. It's not you do this problem, you do evens or odds. She gets to decide where she goes with it. Same with here. You can see I went through, and I do this on Saturday when I get my weekly prepping ready. I will go through, I'll read the problems, I'll decide how many I think she needs to do based on where I see her at. So she's going to start doing the review. She'll let me know if she has questions, but again, she'll be doing this aspect independently just because it's practice. So it's 9:32. She uses a notebook here to do her longer problems, the math, and she asked that I turn the Alexa on to the Barbie soundtrack, so she's listening to that. While doing that, I'm going to continue to work with my 7-year-old. It is 9:46, and she's decided to go up to her room, and as you can hopefully hear, she's blasting Taylor Swift while doing her math. And again, finding ways where they're in a comfortable environment, they're excited about it, whatever works. So she's going to be up there finishing it. She'll let me know if she has any questions while she listens to her music. It's 10 o'clock, she's come down, and she wants help with 5 and 6, so we're going to work through these together, and then she's going to move on to her workbook. It is 10:27, and we just finished up math, so she needed help on one of the word problems for the workbook. And again, dimensions is definitely challenging, and it's definitely challenging me as well, but I think this is a positive. I think it's good to see me struggle with it as well. Not this idea that there's good people and bad people in math, that we all approach problems differently. And the nice thing about dimensions is it gives you multiple ways to approach a problem. So it's always, how does your brain see it? That growth mindset. I really do, although the problems are challenging, even for me, and I'll admit it, it's challenging for me, that I'm able to work through it. I'm sitting there with her, going through it, figuring out together, and giving her that confidence that, okay, I can struggle and get through it, so can she. Well, if I had my husband come in, which he can't, he's at work, he's usually our mathy person, he would easily see this. His brain picks up it really quick, and I think showing them the struggle in homeschool as the educator is okay. You don't always have to have the answers, but you have to have a willingness to learn. And that's something that Dimensions has really brought out in both myself and my daughter. So now that math is done, my 7-year-old has finished up, so we are going to have lunch. So usually I make lunch boxes, but today I didn't, because usually when we have warmer food, so like mac and cheese, corn dogs, something like that, I'll just make it. I won't put it in a lunch box, because I'd have to reheat it anyways. So we are having wraps. So we're having tortillas with cheese and lunch meat, and the kids can choose chips or pretzels, and then I'll cut up an apple with some peanut butter for them. But that'll be lunch. So all their core subjects are done. The only thing we have left is group work, which will be history and geography today. So we're going to break for lunch and then come back for history and geography. It is 11 o'clock. My oldest has finished lunch. The other two are still eating. So she decided to work on her book. She really likes the Catherine Applegate books, and this is a 3-part book. It's the Endling series. So book 1, 2, and 3. She just finished the 3rd one, and she decided she wanted to continue the story. So she is writing her own 4th Endling book here on the computer, and she's using her creative skills, and she's practicing her typing, so she'll work on that until the other two are done with lunch. Meanwhile, I will start grading and correcting the pile of stuff she has left. So I need to look over language arts, I need to look over math, I need to make sure her handwriting is done and her word ladders is done. It is 11:10, just finished correcting math, so there's one problem I'm going to have her redo that was not correct. And then there are a couple homophones that she mixed up, so we will go over those really quick, but I will have her redo that one math problem. Everything else, the textbook, the handwriting, word ladders, all looked good, so she will work on those corrections. It is 11:12. She just finished her corrections. We went over language arts really quick. She confused the 2 different forms of Creek. She fixed her long division problem, and she went back to working on her paper. I'm waiting for my 3-year-old to finish lunch so I can go take him upstairs, and he can do either rest or quiet time while we do our group subjects. My 7-year-old is coloring in the background. So that is what we are currently doing. It's 11:24. My youngest is down for his nap, so we're going to get into geography as our first group subject. And again, we usually choose 2 states. We fill out this information sheet. I read out of these 2 books about that state, and they fill in the information, they draw a picture, and then we go through our recipe book. And it's got some food facts in there too. And they'll pick out a recipe. So last week we did South Carolina, and the kids picked the fudge ribbon cake, which I can actually show you. We still have some left. So that is our fudge ribbon cake that's left, but you can see there's multiple layers in there. So normally we do 2 states because we do different sections. We use core knowledge as our base, and then every week we go over each of those 2 states. Because of where we fell, we only have 1 state this week before we start the next section of the country. So instead of starting 1 and starting another section, we're just going to do 1 today. So we're going to do Virginia, actually. So we're going to do Virginia. So I'm going to have my 7-year-old fill out this information while I read it. And it does come with a bunch of stickers for the state tree, the state bird, and the state flower, so she can easily do those things and draw a picture. I will put some of the information in that she has trouble writing, but my 10-year-old is continuing with her writing while she listens. She has no problem multitasking, and as long as she's paying attention, she's fine to do that. So we're going to get into geography. It is 11:33, so my 7-year-old just finished the picture she chose. She put all the information in there, and the girls decided on, for Virginia, the pea pickling cake. So I'll have to get the ingredients for this later in the week. We usually make it on Fridays. And then I read the food facts, and my 10-year-old is still typing away over there. So next we're going to move on to history. So for history, we're using Oh Freedom. We are on week 24, day 2. So I'm going to read some pages out of here. And then we'll do our read aloud. We're doing The Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. I think it's a really good book. We're using the audiobook version, and it's about a man named Henry. And we're talking about, what after historical events of Pearl Harbor, how Japanese people were treated, because again, that was a big theme of last week, the plight of Japanese immigrants. So it goes over the story of him as a child in the 40s and 50s and his experiences with that. And then it also talks about, it switches perspective to him as an adult or an elderly man and his experience, so you can kind of see both ends of it. I really like it and I'm enjoying it. So we will read, or we'll listen to that audiobook. And we did some of the experiences yesterday, so we watched 2 things on PBS. And we will, if we get to it, because sometimes I wait until we get to that section before we come across that. So if we get to talking about those things in here, then I will start that. We already started some of our discussion yesterday, but after I read the story, I'll look to see if we'll start some of those discussions today. And then there is independent reading for Stamped. It is 11:47. We just finished our pages to read, and we did some of our discussion questions. We were looking at how blacks were treated during the Great Depression in Harlem and all of that. So next we're going to do our audiobook, and my audiobook is on my phone, so I can't record that because I use my phone to record, but we're going to be listening to Hotel in the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. It is 12:25, so we have finished our school day, so that kind of gives you a glimpse into what her day looks like. And as you can see, a lot of it is independent, and I think it works so well for us because we have those systems and schedules in place, and we've had consistency over the years that everybody kind of knows what to do, and it really allows your child to flourish in their independence, but still have those checks in place to make sure the work's being done, and you're making sure you're checking their work on a daily basis, that yes, they need to have the opportunity to be independent, but you still need to be doing your job as well. But I have to say, as she gets older and we get into these older grades, it's actually becoming a lot more fun. Some of the stress and the work is coming off mine. I do put a lot of work, up front, making sure I'm researching things and setting and planning and doing all that, but the day-to-day has become a lot easier with the older grades that we're getting into because, again, we have those rhythms, we have those schedules. She's capable of doing a lot more without me. She doesn't need me hovering around all the time. And I know some parents struggle with kind of letting that go. And again, I think building that relationship of trust and years of practice of expectations and responsibilities is really important. But we're getting to the age where, the things she's learning about are really interesting. The discussions are becoming really interesting because she's getting at that point where she's crossing the line from kid to preteen and will eventually hit teenager and then young adult. And it's just seeing these growth opportunities is really great. I know a lot of people are hesitant, especially when you hit middle school and high school. You see a big drop off in the homeschooling community. But so far, I have to say, I'm really enjoying these older years. I know I'm saying 5th grade. There's some of you that have much older than that. But I'm enjoying seeing what's on the horizon and the things we're going through and the discussions we're having, and the topics we can discover. That, to me, has been a lot of fun. So if you have any questions about what her day looks like or any specific questions for her, let me know. Leave them in the comments down below. If not, thank you for watching.